Webster's dictionary defines equilibrium as a striving for balance between opposing forces or influences. In other words, equilibrium is a fight for balance. Men, we live in a culture with so many distractions. The world will throw everything at us to knock us off course, but we must strive for balance even in the midst of opposing forces and influences. There are a few cultural traps that can keep us from successfully pursuing balance as men. And one of those cultural traps is the tension of information in a man's life versus transformation. Have you ever noticed how much information we have in today's world? I mean, whatever we want, we can get it at the click of a button or by scrolling on our phone. We have more information than we know what to do with, more resources than ever before, more opportunities than ever before, and more access than ever before. Yet we have to ask the question, are we truly being transformed in the process? You see, information comes into here, but transformation comes from here. Romans 12:2, the Apostle Paul is speaking to the church in Rome. And he says, do not be conformed to the pattern of this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind. Then you will be able to test and approve what God's will is, his good, pleasing, and perfect will. Men, the pattern of this world will present more information. It will present more opportunities and more access. But only Jesus Christ presents the opportunity for transformation, a life changed forever. So we can't conform to the world and its patterns. We can't conform to all the information out there. Rather, we need to be transformed by the renewing of our minds with Christ at the foundation. Another cultural trap that can keep us from successfully pursuing balance is this idea of endure versus enjoy. There's nothing worse than a man who is just going through life with this mentality of enduring it. As Christian men, our best witness is to show our joy and how we can overcome life's hardships. As men of Jesus Christ, we know our joy comes from him and the gift of eternal life that he gives us through his death and resurrection. Guys, we need more men who are truly enjoying life and modeling what it looks like to have Christ at the foundation. And King Solomon had a lot to say about this in Ecclesiastes 8:15. He said this, so I commend the enjoyment of life because there is nothing better for a person under the sun than to eat and drink and be glad. Then joy will accompany them in their toil all the days of the life that God has given them under the sun. And finally, the last cultural trap revolves around doing more versus being more. As wrestlers and coaches, this is probably the most relevant for us. So many men are striving to do more. But the bottom line is that God is more concerned with who we are becoming in the spiritual than what we are doing in the physical. 1 John 2:6 says, whoever says he abides in him ought to walk in the way in which he walked. So men, let us focus on becoming more like Christ as we pursue balance in this life. Guys, equilibrium is a fight for balance. And we know the enemy and the culture we live in will try to trap us. The world will do its best to knock you down, but we must strive for balance even in the midst of opposing forces and influences.